Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Liverpool podcast, brought to you by the Global Sports Podcast Network. Manchester City 0, Liverpool 2. The Reds have come away with all 3
Sorry, Jess,
points.
what was that scoreline again? Sorry, I missed that.
It was Manchester City
0,
Liverpool
Did you say 0?
2, 0, Liverpool 2.
Right.
And that's our mate Karl Coppack. It means we are 11 points ahead of second place Arsenal. That's after the Gunners went down to a shock 1-0 defeat at the Emirates on Sunday to West Ham. And for Karl, I'm going to repeat that. Arsenal lost 1-0 against West Ham on Saturday. So we'll be going through all the big talking points on what has been another significant weekend in the Premier League title running. I'm joined by Adarsh Ramchurn. Adarsh, how are you, mate?
I'm buzzing. Great weekend. Arsenal losing, Liverpool winning. I don't think it was a shock, to be honest, Arsenal losing. I actually predicted that on the weekend.
Yeah, same here. I agree.
Yeah, no, fantastic performance from the Reds. Nice, comfortable 2-0 win. And yeah, just happy days.
Happy days. And someone I haven't podcasted with in quite a while, Mr. Karl Coppack. How are you, Karl?
I've had a pretty good weekend, to be honest, because it's not just that Arsenal lost. They all did. The top six, I think it's the top six lost, which is extraordinary. I mean, I also want to come back to the fact that I was laughed at by Louis when I said Arsenal are none of our business. I'd like to double down on that because people are talking about we've won the league and it's February, everyone. And those are realistic statements to say. I just thought today was exactly what we needed. I've been thinking all day, well, since the Arsenal game, I've been thinking, I was annoyed we didn't win the derby. I still think that he blows the whistle. He blows the whistle 2 minutes afterwards when he shouldn't have done. We should have won the derby. I was furious with the 2 number 9s at Villa, and then I just think, this is a hard game to go to. And Arsenal basically said, lads, we just want to give you 5% more inspiration, and it ended up being 30% more inspiration. And the thing for me is, it's not the fact that we've gone from an X lead to an XX lead or anything like that. It's the fact it's 3 more games that Arsenal should have got back on us. And those games have gone. They can't replay those games. And we need 90 points to win the title. This is over before 90 points. Arsenal just aren't good enough. And I get all the conspiracy theories and stuff like that. And I've always had a soft spot for Arsenal. I don't mind them. I find them quite irritating now, obviously. But the thing for me is, they've got money and they can buy a player. And Neil, who came on the show, who you've interviewed, Jess, he made a brilliant point today when he said, Arsenal haven't bought Salah. They haven't even bought a Mane. They've never bought big for the front three, ever. Not someone who's going to deliver numbers like that. And there are still problems with this Liverpool side. There's still major areas to address. We don't have a number 9. Today we didn't need one, which is one hell of a way of addressing that problem. We just don't play with one lad, so we just play with 2 number 10s instead. The left back's still an issue. My God, that was Arna Slott's finest hour today. Everything he wanted to do, the way he squeezed the play, the way he played in groups of 10 minutes, which is, come on, come at us. Now we're going to win the game in these 10 minutes, and now we're just going to let you come at us again, and now we're just going to take you upfield when we want to, and you can just have as many shots as you want. Have all the stats. You're not getting close. You're just not good enough.
Yeah, Adarsh, there's a lot of points I'm going to pick up on. But before
the scoreline being one?
Yeah, the scoreline being one. What kind of impact would that Arsenal defeat have had on Liverpool going into this City game? And I suppose conversely, Arsenal have been dealt a double blow this weekend because obviously they've lost to West Ham. And then, they're probably putting their eggs in that Etihad basket and hoping that City can do something. But even that didn't happen. So it's been a huge blow for Arsenal this weekend in the way that it's been a massive up for Liverpool this weekend.
It's been a fillip for us.
Yeah, no, I think going after the Villa game, I think there was a bit of hesitation, thinking, oh, maybe there's a little, I don't know, difficult patch that Liverpool going through. We're not really playing the best football. But I think that Arsenal defeat yesterday just meant that there was not much pressure. Not to say there was not much pressure on this game, but I think Liverpool could take this game. You could see how relaxed they were as they played that match. I think we got the 2 goals. There was no pressure to get a third. There was no real pressure on our goal anyway throughout the whole match. And I think you just saw throughout the performance, even Slott just looked really calm. It's the calmest I've ever seen him play. And this is Liverpool away at the Etihad. We haven't won there for, I think, a decade. So I think that result did kind of, if anything, it calmed Liverpool down. And I think we actually played a game that we didn't really have to be at 100% to win.
Karl, bearing in mind that what happened against Villa midweek, Liverpool's starting lineup was the same. Were you surprised? Were you encouraged to see basically no number 9, and as you mentioned before, 2 number 10s in Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones?
I called it. If you look on the chat, I called it, and I love this. I love this manager so much just because he's basically said to a £65 million striker, and he said the same thing to the best finisher in the club. I still think, no, not having that. Get out. We will put Curtis Jones, who's not a centre forward, and he'll play the 9 role if he has to. And they swapped it between them every now and then. They're not number 9s, and they're going to do better than you. So you don't get to do that here. That.
Do you think that there was an element of that from Slott?
I read that as no, not having you. Like he only put he's not played Harvey Elliott since Plymouth, and he played 40 seconds tonight. I like that about it. No, if you don't understand the system or you can't deliver the system, you're not playing. And that's just the thing I love about Arna Slott so much is if we would have sat down with a blank piece of paper back in August and said what's he going to do with these players, we wouldn't have got anywhere near this. And it looks like he's just won us a league, and it looks like he's just won a league in February. I mean, that's just I love it. He's so switched on. He's so focused on what makes the play, and what makes us play. And just again, I'm going to come back to it. The way he broke down the game was phenomenal today. The way he broke down and said, "Okay, they're going to have 15 minutes here. That's fine. We'll talk everyone back, and we'll just use Mo as the out ball." Even like Diaz was defending next to Robbo. I mean, can we come to the Trent Doku thing at some point as well?
Yes,
because I saw people at half time having a go at Trent, and I thought, you're not getting this. That's not the plan. It's so strong. I think going back to the number 9s, I love it. We found another way to win, and that's the best thing for a manager can ever do. I found one thing that you can do. City didn't do that today. City didn't have it.
Yeah. Well, Adarsh, the game ended up on City with 66% possession and, obviously 34 for us. I don't want to say this was a Mourinho performance, but it did. The quote sprung to mind where he said that you can control the game without the ball. And I just thought that Liverpool did that. At no point did I fear when City have got the ball for any period of time, there is that kind of building of a momentum. You just think there's this kind of air of inevitability that they're going to score. I never felt that at any stage. And I just thought that we were in complete control. And I think this game, and I totally agree with what Karl said, I think this game perfectly sums up the Slott era in comparison to Jurgen Klopp in terms of going to the Etihad and performing in the way that we did. I think if you had to pick a game and said, look, this is Arne Slott, this is Arne Slott's Liverpool, I think this would be the kind of blueprint. But what did you think of that kind of the way that the possession stats ended up and the general gameplay that we had taking it to Man City?
Yeah, no, I was saying to you offline, Jesse, that I'm not used to Liverpool sort of sitting back. I always love us when we're going full forward, or kind of like that Jurgen Klopp heavy metal football. But I think today it just shows that you can be successful in any form of football as long as you implement the tactics that the manager's given. And I think Karl makes a great point as well. I think throughout that first 45 minutes in particular, there was points where we were playing on the counter attack. We were sitting back deep. We were actually getting the game to City, dominating midfield. And I just thought it was just refreshing because I think I don't really like Gary Neville, but he actually made a good point in terms of saying like this Liverpool team can adapt during games, and I think that's something that Slott's done really, really well with this Liverpool team, and it means we can adjust to whatever the opposition is. Because I think City were always going to have the ball, always have more of the ball. But with Haaland out injured and City not really firing, it made sense for them to just have all of the ball. We'll pip them on the counter attack. They don't have the midfield energy that they used to have. They don't press with the same intensity. They don't play out from the back the same as they done a couple seasons ago. So I think all of that combined meant Slott had a master plan up his sleeve. And I think as well, going into the second half with that 2-0 lead, we didn't have to really get a third. We could have got a third, but we controlled the game really well. And I think, yeah, it just shows how well Slott's done this season. But in the big games, I've been really, really impressed.
He did something very interesting, I thought, which completely differs from Jurgen, where, as I noticed it twice, when they got the ball, it wasn't quite a goal kick, but the keeper had it, and all our forward line dropped to the halfway line straight away. With Klopp, they'd be standing on their toes. And it was very case of, we're in the lead, we've got control of this, you've got to get through us, and you're not going to do that. I think that's the biggest difference I spotted today. And and that's absolutely been drilled into them. If you've won the game already, it's all right to control and protect. That's fine.
And what exacerbated it for City was the fact that the overload in midfield with Jones and Szoboszlai in there, and then Diaz dropping back as well. You saw them, all they were doing was just recycling the ball and then trying to work it around principally Doku. Adarsh, you mentioned that Haaland didn't play. Did he bottle it?
Maybe, I don't know, probably. I mean, he missed the game in midweek against Real Madrid, but
yeah, let's not get Pep triggered like Carragher did. But Karl, we take the lead on around 13 minutes. It's that man again, Salah. Great corner routine. Really good to see us doing something other than lumping it in with an outswing.
Yeah, that's the usual thing. Yeah, and I know it's a deflection, but it's a hell of a finish. It's still a hell of a finish, because when I watched it, and sort of, because it was so fast, I thought it was McAllister, to be honest, just because of the area of the pitch. And my first thought was, what's he doing there? Why is Mo Salah standing out almost outside the box on a corner? You'd expect him to be backstick ready to put it back in again if it goes over everyone. And I mean, that must be the training team, the tactics lads. That must just be the more almost as enjoyable as the win. Something we did yesterday's paid off against the 4 times champions of England for a bit until they're not the 4 times champions. not.
We got one warning on around about half hour mark when I was going to say Marmoush.
What a finish!
He's offside, but like you said, Adarsh, what a finish! And he was someone that I really wanted Liverpool to bring in, because I just think that he can work across that front line really well. But I thought he had a good game.
Yeah, no, he was solid. I just think in terms of City setting up, they had those 4 attackers with Doku, Savinho, Foden, and Marmoush, but they all kind of play similar style. And I think Liverpool kind of dealt with that well. You mentioned Haaland. If Haaland was playing, it would be probably a different proposition for the back 4. But yeah, Marmoush, great finish. I actually I messaged in the group saying that I was a bit frustrated with how Liverpool were playing at that time, because we were kind of letting City have too many chances. Not major chances, but kind of those half chances. But then we made it 2-0, so I wasn't complaining. But I just think, Marmoush was definitely someone Liverpool could have got in. But, I mean, is he going to be as effective as Salah? I think Liverpool are going to probably sign other attacking players in the summer anyway. So, yeah. And I feel Liverpool dealt with pretty much all the attackers really well. Doku, they kind of gave a bit too much space for, especially on that right-hand side. But he didn't really do anything anyway.
Give him the ball all day.
Yeah, he did nothing. Yeah, absolutely nothing.
Come on, beat him again. Come on.
But then, Szoboszlai, soon after that Marmoush disallowed goal, I think capped off a great performance. With a really smart finish. I thought, he kind of gave the keeper the eyes, Karl, left foot. But again, good counter-attack. Trent to Mo. Mo does what he does, sets up Szoboszlai. And I do like what's developing between those two.
He had a shot this time. I wonder if he's had a word as well. What's had a word with him?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it looks really good. And the interview was really nice as well. Did you see that the difference in height between them? Wow,
it's massive.
It's almost double the size.
I thought Mo was quite big as well, but Jesus Christ, he's like head and shoulders. And then the fact that he called him a kid, he's just a kid.
Yeah, Yes, it's like his uncle was speaking to him. But, look, City were reduced to pretty much crossing at every opportunity, which was just meat and drink for Konate and Van Dijk. Yeah. And at half time, in terms of coverage that we were watching, Roy Keane said that we were watching the new champions. And he described us as being brutally efficient, Adarsh. I think that's a pretty fair description.
Yeah, I think that's, if anything, that's what we've been all season. We haven't needed to create many chances, but we've been clinical in front of goal. Obviously, it helps when Salah's having the season of his life. I mean, another goal and assist. I think that's 11 games this season. He's got a goal and assist.
25 goals, 16 assists in the Premier League in 27 games.
It's ridiculous. And I think, do you know what? We're speaking about sort of the style of play and how we're playing a bit more defensive today. But when you've got a player like Salah up front, you can structure the whole team so that when you get a chance, you give it to Salah, he sets someone up, he scores the goals. And then defensively, you can sit back, you can press no low blocks. I think it makes a big difference having the team set up around Salah. And I think that's what Slott's done really, really well this season. And the most efficient person there is in world football is Mo Salah. So that's how Liverpool have been playing this season. And yeah, brutally efficient is how I describe it.
His work rate coming back as well. I think I always, when you talk about who was man of the match, it's a bit unfair to do man of the match if you've literally got Superman in your team, because what the others are like, but look at him, he's
sort of saw Szoboszlai's shoulders sink when he was handed the man of the match award. Say, right, give it to the fella next year,
because he's but the way can I talk about the Trent thing, or do you want to do that in a bit?
No, I think let's go ahead, because there has been a lot of chatter.
It's nonsense
about the number of times that Doku apparently beat Trent, and I think even Gary Neville, kind of made a little kind of side swipe about Doku beating Trent 46 times and still ending up on the losing team. So what's your analysis of that, Karl?
Well, I mean, I was reading lots of criticism about how Trent was, always playing really badly, and he's been a bit sloppy and things like that. The way the system works, this all started, I think, at Anfield when Doku comes on and he's really good against Trent in the same way that he's really, really good without actually doing anything with it. And he drive me mad. Do you know what it reminds me of Milan Barros for us. Fantastic at running to the corner flag all the time. You could keep the ball all day, but it never went anywhere ever. So obviously, the Doku's not been playing all for everything, all the time this season. But I think he plays against Trent because he thinks, I'm just going to get change out of Trent. And the way we worked it is he was always the out ball. So, and that's football. Trent's a very, very good fullback, and this lad's really good as well. So Mo just dropped in, and then we pushed up one of the 10s just to sort of, keep a bit of space. He wasn't having a bad game. He was having a hard game because he's all right, that bloke. So I think it's a bit harsh just to say. I think there's a lot of down people. I mean, I've had to go at Trent loads this season, but I don't think he can do it there, to be honest, because I think he's the system they played. They targeted him, they isolated him all the time. They were trying to switch the ball. If you watch the first half hour for City, all they could do was switch the ball to the left hand side whenever they would. We're getting one by one on one, and we might get a runner through. And Liverpool and Arna Slott just said, all right, we'll just pull Konate over. Konate was pretty much there all the time anyway. And if that's, we'll bring Mo back if we need to. It's a tactical thing. He didn't have a bad first half. That was the problem that needed to be solved, and we're very good at solving things in the game.
Adarsh, I think the one thing that really impressed me, because I think sometimes you've seen it with a lot of teams. They'll go into halftime with a 2-0 lead, and particularly when you're playing away from home, the home team comes out and they're really going to give it a go. But it just didn't. Nothing seemed to change or phase Liverpool. They just kept doing what they were doing, and as Karl said, they almost played in these kind of mini phases of the game, where he had the ball, and Liverpool were quite happy for them to have the ball. But when we did counter, I thought it was really ruthless. And I mean, we Curtis Jones scores. Unfortunately, I think was it Szoboszlai was offside.
Offside, yeah.
But again, I just thought that second half performance was really impressive, bearing in mind that we were 2-0 up and we just didn't seem to get complacent.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the chances that we actually had in the second half, we didn't have that many, but there were probably more goal scoring opportunities than City created in the whole of the second half. I mean, I can remember Diaz going, having that shot Ederson saved. Obviously, the offside goal, Salah having one from outside the box. We probably looked more threatening than City, and they had all of the ball in the second half. So I think that kind of shows how well we set up. And I think that midfield four, I think we tested it against Villa and it didn't quite work because I think Villa had kind of a similar setup in terms of their midfield as well. So we kind of tried to match them. City, we outnumbered them today. And I feel like Jones and Szoboszlai playing that sort of 2-10s, they could get up forward, but they can also come back. Also with Diaz and Salah. I actually thought Diaz played really well without attacking as well as he could. I thought defensively he put in a proper shift, and that's one thing you can never fault Luis Diaz on. No matter his output, he always puts in a shift. I thought he was brilliant going sort of forward, but also coming back and supporting Robertson, who kind of struggled a little bit towards the end of the game. But I thought we managed the game really well, and I think that midfield for me was the highlight. And Szoboszlai, yeah, I feel like every game he just gets better and better. Specifically when it comes to goals and assists, he's obviously got a goal and assist today as well. So yeah, really impressed with him.
Yeah, and manage it we did. And Slott, he brought on a couple of subs. Tsimikas came on for Robertson, who I thought had a decent
Very
game. Endo came on and just did what Endo does. Absolutely.
Can I tell you my favourite moment of the game, goals aside?
Yeah.
It was the offside goal where Curtis celebrates, runs, and he does this to the crowd, get up, get up, get up, get up. And he gets wiped out, and he does the same thing anyway, because it doesn't bloody matter, because we're still going to win this. God, I love that. That was because Jurek could go down. We won it, and they came at us for maybe 45 seconds, and Gary never got that excited about it. But it could have been 2-1. It could have been 3-0. It could have been 2-1. Yeah, then he didn't show up after. I love that. I think that's really, really speaks to his attitude. I think that's fantastic. Look, we're winning here. Look, this is okay. It didn't go in. We didn't score, but don't drop your heads. This is amazing what we're doing here. That's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of the I was just about to say, sorry. I love that bit with about 10 minutes to go where Lucho was sort of in the centre circle and he had the ball. No one, maybe
no one
around him, and he tried to run through 6 lads.
It was class. It was absolutely class. I was going to say my favourite moment during the game was actually in the first half when I think it was Doku who put in a cross and Konate just wiped it and then went to the crowd and just gave it the pigeons. And I thought that was my favourite moment.
Nice. Like, he was monumental. He was monumental. But so the game ended 2-0. Yeah, I'm going to put it in the show notes, Karl.
I'm an old man.
And it's a huge win for Liverpool, and potentially for this title race. But we're going to come back in just a minute after this advert, and we'll talk about some player ratings.
Stats as well for you.
Your body is unique, and Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimize your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bioniq. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Okay, let's do some player ratings. Let's start with the keeper, Adarsh. Pretty routine performance for Alisson. Really didn't have much to do apart from maybe a couple of crosses that he kind of punched. I remember I think the first few minutes of the game, I think he elected to punch a cross, and he got a bit of a volley from Virgil. And then about 30 seconds later, there was a more difficult cross that came in, and he grabs it with both hands.
Do you know what? Alisson didn't have that much to do today, but I thought just the way he just takes everything and makes it so easy. Like some of those shots from outside the box, I think the Marmouche one in the first half, he just catches it like it's nothing. Yeah, I mean, he didn't really have much to do, so I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I thought the moment when it was kind of like a back pass. It wasn't a back pass, but where he just plucked it out of the air, I thought, I
was going to say his best save was against Tsimikas.
Yeah,
lovely shot by Tsimikas. Really nice.
But this is going back a while. But Alisson reminds me in those instances where he makes things look easy. He reminds me of Ray Clements. because Ray Clements had that ability to, particularly when there's a shot outside the area and it's low, and the keeper's got to come down and just put his body in front of the ball. You've seen so many times that a ball will kind of, just kind of wriggle under the goalkeeper. But Ray Clements was a very understated goalkeeper, and Alisson's like that. He just does things really, really well. Back four, I thought Konate was an absolute monster in the centre of defence. Van Dijk again, I thought was brilliant. I'm giving Konate a 9. I'm giving Van Dijk an 8. I thought Robertson had a really, really good game.
He did.
I thought that, I think he started to tire in the second half. And again, well done to Arna Slott for spotting that and, making a change immediately. And I'm giving Trent, a 7. I don't think he had a bad game. I just thought that, he, as Karl mentioned, if you've got a Manchester City team, even if it's not firing on all cylinders at home, and they're just pretty much exclusively attacking down that left-hand side, then you are going to get beaten now and again. Karl, give us your ratings for that back four.
I would say Konate and Virgil 9, just because Virgil just makes me calm, which is like, he's like some sort of tranquilizer to my heart when I see him play. I thought the fullbacks were just excellent. I really did, and I can see why. Sorry, it's just getting a WhatsApp message just totally thrown me. I can see why people have been criticising the fullbacks there, but I just thought they were great today. I thought they were really good. I absolutely love the moment where Guardiola claimed that Robbo had elbowed someone in the face. He's nowhere near it. He's put his hand on his face, admittedly, but only because he can't see where his face is. He's put his hand behind him to hold the player off, and he's doing elbowing gestures to the referee. Mate, you're on telly.
Adarsh, back four.
I mean, I agree.
Yeah,
9 each. Let's do a 9 each.
All right, then. Let's move on to a quite a packed midfield then. Let's start with the duo, Gravenberch, McAllister, Karl.
Both quiet, but both incredibly effective. I've been calling all week that Gravenberch he's going to have a day when Endo's going to have to play there instead, because he can't keep doing it. And I thought they were both quite quiet today, but all they had to do was basically stand in front of the back four, and that's all they did. And that's how we won the game. So, I thought they were both great. I thought McAllister went quite quiet after his injury when he basically got knocked out, didn't he, for the offside goal. But just solid 8s. Nothing wrong with what they did at all. They weren't spectacular today because they didn't need to be.
Yeah, Adarsh, same for you.
Yeah. I'll say 8. I think as well, we're kind of so used to seeing Gravenberch and McAllister sort of dominating midfield in terms of getting on the ball, but I think you really saw just the role they have to play in terms of just sitting in front of the back four, like Karl said. And it's easier said than done. It's actually really impressive what they did in terms of being that screen. And I'll give them 8, but they didn't have to do much in terms of on the ball. I thought off the ball is what I'm basing my rating on.
Well, everyone was off the ball. You didn't get the ball.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm talking exclusively that midfield too, because we always kind of seem to rate them when they're on the ball, like, doing their thing.
I don't know if you saw at the end of when the final whistle went, and there were players celebrating, and then the camera moves to Szoboszlai, and he's face down on the floor.
He's exhausted.
He's literally just face down on the floor. He's completely giving it his all, as he does every game. I just thought he was brilliant. 9 out of 10 for me. I thought he was alongside Mo, probably a man of the match performance.
Yeah. Just he's ironed out some of the wrinkles in his game. His decision making is better. Yeah. I wish he'd shoot sometimes when he doesn't. But Mo said he's a kid, and the things he's coming up with, he's going to be at this club for a long time. And I've always thought that we don't really know what his best position is, because if you would have told me, I went to that Villa game early on his home debut, went to that when he scored, and if you'd said to me that he's a sort of half 10, half 9 man, and his sole job is to just leg it after everyone, I would have thought that's not his job. His job is to pick passes, and the change in him has just been extraordinary.
That's coaching.
That's exactly it. And coaching is seeing something that in a player that no one else can see, and thinking, do you know what? If you thought about doing this, when you're going to do it now. Gravenberch is another example of that, obviously.
Exactly. Yeah. What about some of the other boys, Adarsh? Jones, Diaz, and Salah.
Yeah, I mean Jones and Diaz, I thought kind of had similar games in terms of their off the ball efforts. Probably going to give Diaz a slightly higher rating purely because I just thought he was everywhere on that left hand side. So probably an 8 or a 9 for Diaz. Jones, again, quite quiet, not as effective on the ball, but I don't think he needed to be. I think he came off probably like 70th minute. So yeah, I mean, I think he'll probably feature against Newcastle. So yeah, not the greatest game, not the worst game. I wish that goal counted, but yeah, I'll probably say a 6 or 7 for Jones, and then Salah's probably 10. I mean, forget the goal and assist. I thought his all-round game was incredible, holding off defenders. There was a point where he had, I think it was on the touchline, he like chipped past Guardiola and just kept running. He's just taken his game to another level, and without him, I think I saw a stat. Without him, without his goals and assists, I think Liverpool will be 13th in the Premier League. So yeah, I mean that alone is crazy.
It is incredible that the fact that he's moved up gears at this age. I think it's testament to his, the way that he's kept himself fit, the way that he just doesn't miss games, his hunger, his desire. You can see with every performance, you can see Karl with every interview. It's the Premier League. He just wants this Premier League.
When he used to say he wants the Champions League.
Wants the Champions League.
And now he wants this, and I think he wants next year's too.
Yeah.
I really do.
Hey, why not?
I'd say in terms of rating, I'd say Curtis 8 for the performance, 12 for the celebration, and out of 10, I'd say Mo 115.
Oh, I like that number.
Yeah, especially at City. Yeah. I think that's.
You haven't asked me for my stats yet.
Go ahead, Karl. Give us your stats.
Liverpool are 20 points clear ahead of Manchester City, and Manchester City are 4th in the league.
Is that your groundbreaking Opta stat?
Yeah, I've come up with that. I said this on Blue Sky, and someone said, "Now do United." I've got a brilliant one for United. United are 34 points behind Liverpool, and Man United haven't reached 34 points yet. It's February.
Well. That's the relevant stat. It's going to get worse. It's February. It's going to get worse. And look, we've got Newcastle coming up midweek, who scraped a 4-3.
Great game
against Forest.
Great game.
Yeah, it was a great game. Forest came back. Lots of mistakes. They're a good team. They've got a good threat going forward. But with this weekend, how it's gone at Adarsh, it's at home. Anfield, we've got to be confident in this game now. And bearing in mind that Arsenal are going to be going away to Nottingham Forest, it could be another huge step towards the Premier League.
Yeah, I think it's a good game in terms of Liverpool staying focused, because I think if we had a game that's probably on paper more winnable, I think we kind of maybe go back to sort of some of those bad habits that we've seen in some of the games this season. But I think Newcastle away, Newcastle at home, will be switched on. I think it was good that he rotated, like the attacking players apart from Salah and Diaz all had a game off. Gakpo's probably going to come back into the starting 11. I hope he does. Jota maybe feature as well. So I think we kept some of those attacking players fresh for Newcastle. It's important. I think it's really important we win that game just to put further daylight between us and Arsenal. And yeah, like you said, they've got Nottingham Forest away, which I think if Forest win, they'll go level on points with Arsenal, which
Mike made a good point. Mike, you said if we'd written down the fixtures of where we want Arsenal to play on Wednesday night, that would be it.
That would be the one.
That's a horrible place to go overnight.
Absolutely, true. For a night game. And Karl, you talk about the likes of Gravenberch not getting a rest. Well, after that midweek game, we don't have a game.
We've got one league game in March. One
league game in March, and then it's back to the Champions League next week against PSG away first. Quick thought about the Champions League then. What did you make of that draw?
Doesn't matter, we're going to beat them anyway.
Big fan of that draw. I feel like you need to get those big teams out. So the best way to do that is beating them.
There you go. There you go. You heard it here first. That is all for today. Give us a follow on your preferred podcast platform so that you get the very latest content when it drops. We are now on YouTube, so check us out on the Global Sports Podcast Network YouTube page, and you can see Karl kind of very languid in the background, just arm up in the air and everything. Follow us on social media at GSPN Liverpool. You can email us at gspnliverpool@gmail.com. Join us again tomorrow for our tactics show. From myself, Adarsh, and Karl, thank you for listening.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Here at Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr.